Hello, good morning. Oh, hello, whatever you're up to. That's getting annoying. There we go, looks a bit better. So, before I talked about how love can be an entity inside you, and it grows into your sort of neural network. So the consciousness is maybe like a program develops. But it's also, I think, for other emotional states, similar entities form, and they kind of are your traits within your character. You know, like if you're quite depressive, you might have this kind of negative entity that's looking for certain things, I guess, that work with your character. You know, if you're pessimistic, not necessarily if you're depressed, I'd say. Depends on the time of exposure and really what you try to achieve with yourself. But yeah, yet again, that kind of has a connection. You know, makes you feel down, affects your emotional state, affects your hormone state, and gives you a sort of deep, weird feeling in your heart, feels strange. Heartbeat might beat a bit slow and sad. And also things like bereavement and your relationships. And part of that person becomes you, really, grows into you. So it's all about that management and understanding it's perfectly natural to have this kind of neurological connection. In a sort of deep-rooted way. So that's one area of things I was looking at. And another is the slow cookers, actually. I was looking at things where, like the carnivore diet, helps you lose weight, helps you heal your guts, gets you out of depression, other things like that. And because basically you're made of flesh and it's easy to digest flesh, and that's really the relationship. I mean, we do eat certain plants, but maybe we don't eat them how we used to. If they're too fresh, or if they need to be broken down in some way, I don't know. But there's a lot of allergies and there's issues around a vegan-based diet, for the looks of it. There's probably issues in any diet. That's why I've started doing doing my fasting, because I don't know what toxins are building up, or maybe they've built up for years in me, and I need to get them out of my system. I can't lose weight, or I can't balance, health manage if I'm full up with toxins. So I just need to go on things where I have a bit of rest. A bit like I feel a bit fatter in the throat at the moment. That's just the thyroid. That's just fibrosis. This happens, these things. You get fat around your throat, your liver swells up, and you suffer with prostate issues as a bloke and other things. You know when your prostrate's large, what happens is when you go for a wee, it won't be flowing straight out of you. It'd be more restricted. So you end up going for a trickle. You might get that when you have a lot of coffee as well. Coffee does with that, because it's diuretic properties. And if you don't want to wee and you don't have a full bladder, then you just release a small amount. And it affects your arteries and other things, because the release of adrenaline into the bloodstream. So it's a survival mode, really. Anyway, back to so from the carnivore side of things, I was looking at a guy who was eating raw meat, and I thought, wow, this is eating loads of beef, and he's eating it raw, for nutritional benefits and other things. And I'm interested in not over damaging the food, because you can cook things and all you're left with is a lot of carbon, basically, iron, carbon, and not really much other nutrients if they're trapped in the meat. So I remembered, this is just a bit of a hack, I think, that with beef, let's say minced beef, you leave it in your fridge and it starts going off, it starts turning brown. Okay, now it goes brown because it's drying up, and maybe its oxidization has changed, so it's carbonating and the actual meat, that's when the meat starts turning brown. It's like a bit like rust, really, isn't it? So you've got one bioavailable iron that's turned to another, and so that's the sign that the food's breaking down and it's deteriorating. And so when you cook it, if you fry it, or you cook it, it also turns brown. So I'm assuming that there's similar processes involved with the breakdown of the fats and nutrients in the actual minced beef. But if you take your 500 grams of mince and you put it in a slow cooker and you fill it with a little bit of, put some water in it, maybe a bit of salt, whatever herbs and stuff, but you cook it, and then when you cook it and you get around to the morning, it's still pink, and you're thinking, have I cooked it right? And you taste it. We said, yeah, it does taste okay, so it's like medium rare almost. Possibly it is, but it tastes okay, but you notice it still looks raw. So nutritionally it hasn't really gone under certain changes that occur when it starts going off or where it's fried. So at the low temperature it's not changing its molecular structure so much. Now this might not work for all foods, but with this knowledge it means basically if you put raw meat into a slow cooker and you cook it, the nutritional value of it is going to be way higher than if you possibly fry it, because you're giving your body something that's broken down, but it doesn't have to reconstruct all the protein chains together and so on. It's in, well, it will, when it gets into the stomach, it'll certainly smash it apart. And I don't know what the process, but yeah, again, that'll be oxidising it, I guess. So thinking of hydrochloric acids combined with your mince meat. So it break down on its nutritional structures, but it might not have the same effect as if you cooked it with fire. And so with this in mind, other meats you could cook as well. So when you cook them in your slow cooker and you put it on your warm temperature, put it really slow cooking and cook it throughout the night, and you'll know, because all the nutrients will be mixed in. It basically tastes the fluid that's come out, and it might be slightly oily, but it tastes great. The body knows what good food tastes like. It's a great way. It smells good, it tastes great, and so that's something we should sort of key into. And so I'm looking at I'm looking at things like maybe like liver, put organ meat in there as well. It's things I haven't eaten for a long time. You want to make sure it tastes nice, because it's spices in it, it's not the problem. There are some things I don't like. I don't eat loads of fat. My mum used to basically use a pressure cooker, and she used to put steak cubes in it and things like that. Because she never fried them up, they had about half a centimetre of fat on one side of the cubes and things like that, and it just, in a pressure cooker, it's just rubbery, and it's just a big half a plate full of these diced cubes with gravy. The gravy didn't do anything. When you got to it, you're chewing it, and you felt you had to just keep chewing and chewing and chewing. You didn't want to swallow a whole bit of fat. Like if it got in your stomach, it would remain a big chunk of fat. It was more of a psychological thing, but you start to really hate it. It's like, I don't mind so much now. I've probably got much more tolerant of fat. I never saw it as an enjoyable experience. So things with fats, and the same for the experience with the meat was pressure cookered. All the nutrients come out of it, and then it was just like an aero. It's just really dry and lacking and things. So when I'm going to slow cook it, I'm going to cook the liver in butter. I'm going to put some butter in there, and maybe some herbs and other things. And I could put some onions on top, but they might brown up pretty quick actually, because they're more. Well, if you ever see, will they caramelise or will they not? I imagine the air would affect them, but yeah, I'd try that out. If they do, they might just almost fade away to nothing, and you've got a really tasty sauce with it. Maybe a buttery sauce, and then what we could do from there is possibly a rice mix. Just cut it up really fine. Maybe make some other sauce from the juice. And there we go, some sort of liver, maybe egg fried rice, I could do that. And it's more focus on the meat really, that's the main part of it. Yeah, so get really good quality meat and see how it goes. And then look at other sort of organ meats as well and process them, because they're essential to the body. The way I looked at it, if you want to repair the body, you use something the bodies would be into. So like eating liver, or want to improve your kidneys, eat kidneys and things like that, which may sound a bit bizarre. I remember watching, what was I watching? It was a very strange thing, Gangs of New York or something, and this butcher guy said about the 5 organs, and that the ones he'd take out to kill somebody, I think. Going on about the liver, you can't live without the liver, the kidneys, you can't live with the kidneys, the stomach, the heart. So, but then if you take care of these organs, which are almost like a pentagram inside your body, and they will be like your power matrix for keeping you young and healthy. When they start to fail, then it's not so great. I mean, I put other things in like colloidal silver and other bits and bobs. There may be some things I can't reproduce in my body anymore that I might need to look for outside of that. And there's also things I don't need in my body. Like, do I need vitamin C? Can I produce vitamin C in some other way? So I always find it strange how the human liver produces loads of vitamin A but can't produce vitamin C, but the dog's liver can. And some other ones in cold conditions they produce lots of vitamin C, but then they often eat sort of things that are carcasses and scavengers, so they often eat things that are lower quality. So yeah, definitely would be the biohack. And it's also mid-range. I mean, if somebody's, say they've gone from vegan and they thought, well, you know, it's great, I just wanted a healthy lifestyle, and then they started getting health problems, think, well, how do I cure these health problems? And maybe they just want to go on meat for a while. They won't all stuck on it for as a kind of decision to always eat meat. But it depends what they learn, really. It's a live and learn, and it's like the biohacking side of things. I mean, ethics, nobody wants to eat anything, really. I mean, plants are living souls as well. And you can't really grade something because you can relate to it more than another. I mean, sure, there's shorter lives. I mean, how can you grade life? You could turn around and say something's got a shorter lifespan, therefore it doesn't matter. So I could turn around and say a dog, for instance, you know, 7 to 14 years, it might be dead anyway. So it doesn't really matter, or it produces a larger amount of as a group. So if I eat half of them, that's fine. You can find all sorts of weird ethical ways to go forward. Some people say, well, you can't really talk to plants, and they're not intelligent, so therefore you can eat as many as you want. But you realise that plants do have an intelligence with them, and there is a spiritual significance behind them. You know, one thing eating maybe a leaf, but if you're ripping up a plant completely so it can't reproduce, then maybe you've removed some of its potential, really. Let's fly into here. And the other thing I'm looking at is my book of the book of Shinra. So I might look up for religions and cover myself, because if I'm growing medicinal plants and things and stuff, I'm flat out of interest, and laws change, it can become a lot harder, and say, well, you can't even import them, you can't grow them. Like I say, it was a part of my religion, and then what I do is have my book, and it covered my beliefs, but it also covered beliefs around plants, like neo-paganism in some ways, you know, the way it's sort of connecting to nature, that nature in itself is an expression of God, and growing plants is like caretaking duty for the planet, is a kind of way to honour a more spiritual higher being, basically, or honour your creator, basically. I mean, you can reap benefits, but you've got to also sow benefits for the world, and if you've got to try to do is put more into the world than you take, and that way you've created some strong equilibrium with the planet. So I can put a whole host of beliefs there. And if there's ever a situation where somebody says you've committed a crime, you've got a plant, you've got to go to court, I say sure. And they said, right, well, which religion are you going to swear on? I said, I swear on my own, and then I'll swear on that. And then when they say, well, you can't do this as a crime, I said, not by my own religion. And then I say, look, Judge, read the book. I'll give him the book to read. This is what I strongly believe in. So anyway, this is Pixie signing off, and speak to you soon.